Have you ever looked out at your backyard, big or small, and just imagine it buzzing with life? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. We're going to figure out how to turn pretty much any outdoor space into a personal bird sanctuary. Seriously, just close your eyes for a second and picture it. You step outside with your morning coffee, and you hear it. The chatter of chickadees at a feeder, you see that incredible flash of red as a cardinal lands on a branch, and then that zipping sound of a hummingbird right by your ear. This isn't some faraway nature show. This can be right outside your door. So that's the million-dollar question, right? How do you actually do it? It seems like this huge project, but honestly, you don't need acres and acres of land. A tiny city yard, a patio, shoot, even a balcony can become a super important rest stop for birds. And we're going to break down exactly how to make it happen.
But first, let's talk about the why. Why even bother? Because this is so much more than just a cool hobby. It's an act that has a real, tangible impact way beyond your fence.
Every little sanctuary you create is a direct lifeline for bird populations that are really struggling with habitat loss. You're not just helping birds, you're boosting the health of your entire neighborhood's ecosystem. And for you, it's a chance to connect with nature on a daily basis. And I mean, come on, there's just nothing better than watching the little world you helped build come to life.
All right, let's get into the nuts and bolts. Like any good project, a little bit of planning up front is going to pay off big time. This is our blueprint for success.
And really, we can boil all that planning down to these 4 simple things. Think of it like a pre-flight checklist for your sanctuary. We're going to map your space, see what you're working with plant-wise, get to know your local bird celebrities, and then just double-check a few quick rules. Let's get to it.
Okay, first things first, you got to know your canvas. Just grab a piece of paper, doesn't have to be fancy, and sketch out your yard. Where's it sunny in the morning? Where's the shade in the afternoon? Any super windy spots? What plants are already there? This little map becomes your secret weapon.
Now this is maybe the most important slide here. Native plants are the absolute bedrock of a healthy bird habitat. Why? Because they host the native insects that something like 96% of songbirds need to feed their babies. Those pretty non-native plants from the big box store, they might look nice, but for the birds, it's like a food desert. Going native is the single biggest game changer.
You wouldn't open a restaurant without knowing what people in the neighborhood like to eat, would you? It's the same idea. Use a free app like eBird to see which species are hanging out in your zip code. That way you can tailor the menu, so to speak, for the birds you're actually likely to see.
And last up on the checklist, a quick safety check. This one's a non-negotiable. You have to avoid pesticides. They completely wipe out the insect population, which is the #1 food source for so many birds. It's also just smart to check if your town or HOA has any rules about things like bird baths or brush piles.
Okay, plans in place. Now for the fun part. Let's build this thing. We're going to focus on the core of the sanctuary, the 4 things that are absolutely essential to bring the birds flocking in.
It all comes down to this number, 4. That's it. If you can provide these 4 things, I promise you the birds will come. It really is that simple.
And here they are, the core 4. Food, water, shelter, and places to nest. Think of these as the 4 pillars of your sanctuary. If you've got these covered, you're golden. Now let's see what that actually looks like.
This chart breaks it down perfectly. For food, yeah, seeds are great, but native plants with berries and bugs are even better. For water, the key word is shallow. Little birds can't swim, so 1 or 2 inches is perfect. Shelter just means having some dense bushes or a tree where they can hide from hawks. And for nesting, you can put up a birdhouse, or even easier, just let a corner of your yard get a little thick and wild.
So, you've got the basics in place. Awesome. Now let's talk about how to keep it going all year round, and how you can get even more out of it.
A truly great sanctuary is a 4-season resort. In the dead of winter, a heated bird bath can be an absolute lifesaver. When summer's blazing, keeping that water clean and full is crucial. In the fall and spring, you can think specifically about migrating birds. They need high-energy fuel like berries and nectar to make their long journeys.
And here's where it gets really cool. As you start seeing more and more birds, you can actually become a citizen scientist. You can use free apps like Merlin Bird ID to figure out who's visiting and then log your sightings. You're not just watching birds anymore. You're contributing real data to scientific research. How awesome is that?
Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, from the big picture why to the nitty-gritty how. But now comes the single most important part, actually starting.
I know it's easy to look at all of this and feel a little overwhelmed, like it's this massive project. I totally get that. But here's the thing, you don't have to do it all at once. In fact, you probably shouldn't.
The real secret to making this happen, to actually building a thriving sanctuary, is to just start small. One single, manageable step. That's it.
So what could that one step be? It could be as simple as putting up one feeder, or planting one native berry bush, or just putting out a shallow dish with clean water. Any one of these is a huge win, and it will start making a difference literally the day you do it. The birds are out there right now, looking for places like the one you can build. You have the power to create that for them. Your whole sanctuary journey just starts with one small choice. So the only question left is, what's your first step going to be?